The arrival on Korma 7. The planet Korma 7 was a dry, rocky world filled with sharp winds and dust storms. It was home to the Graal, a proud warrior species known across the galaxy for their strength and battle culture. For many years, no outsider had been allowed into their training arenas. But this time, the Council had invited different species to test their best fighters in the arena of honor. Among the warriors was a lone human named Adam. He didn't bring a sword, blaster, or even body armor. He only carried a calm look and wrapped his hands in old cloth. Most thought he was mad, or maybe just to show off. The Graal didn't like humans much. They believed humans were too soft, too emotional, and far too fragile for real combat. From the high seat was Laia, the daughter of the Graal's head war leader. She had seen hundreds of fighters compete in the arena, but her eyes kept going back to the quiet human, standing barefoot on the sand. The bell rang. A massive beast from the mountain clans of Korga stepped into the arena, covered in bone plates. And standing twice Adam's size, the creature roared and charged. The crowd cheered, ready to see the human torn apart, but Adam didn't move. He waited. The moment the creature was close, Adam ducked, turned, and struck a single blow under its chin with the side of his paw. The beast dropped like stone. The arena went completely silent. Laia stood up, her eyes wide. Her heart beat faster, and not just because of the surprise. She had seen warriors win before, but none like this. None with such control, such focus, such grace. Adam turned away from the beast and looked up at the high seat. For a brief second, his eyes met hers. Laia felt her breath catch. Later, while the next fight was being prepared, Leah leaned to her friend and whispered something without thinking. "I wish he were mine." A warrior's challenge Adam stood quietly near the stone wall of the arena, wiping dust off his arms. His first match had ended in a single blow, and the silence that followed was louder than any cheer. The other fighters began whispering about him. Some mocked, others grew cautious. But Adam remained calm. Leah couldn't stop staring. Something about the way he moved reminded her of the wind, quiet, unseen, but strong enough to shape mountains. She had trained with warriors all her life, but none of them had ever made her feel like this. Her father had always said, "Power is everything," but watching Adam, power didn't look like rage. It looked like control. Meanwhile, a tall Graal warrior named Braun was pacing near the weapon racks. Braun was known for being cruel in the arena, and he didn't like what he saw in Adam. A human had stolen his spotlight, and the crowd was whispering about it. Braun's pride burned. He marched to the center and slammed his fist on the ground. "I challenge the human," he shouted. "Let's see what bare hands can do against a true blade." A crowd roared in approval. The announcer turned toward Adam, who simply nodded. "No weapons," Adam said firmly. "I won't fight with one." Braun laughed. "Good. That'll make it easier to break you." Laia's heart pounded as she watched Adam step forward. Her friend beside her leaned in. "Laia," she whispered, "what did you say earlier? That you wished the human were yours?" Laia blushed slightly, but didn't answer. She couldn't stop looking at him. The match began. Braun charged in with a heavy blade, aiming straight for Adam's shoulder. But Adam moved like water. He sidestepped, capped Braun's wrist, and the blade dropped. Before Braun could recover, Adam spun, swept the Graal's legs from beneath him, and slammed his palm into Braun's chest. The Graal flew backward, hit the wall, and didn't get back up. The arena fell. Silent once more, Leah stood. Her voice was quiet, but filled with something new. Wonder, respect. "This human, he doesn't just fight," she said. "He teaches." She didn't know that Adam had heard her. But as he turned away from the fallen Graal, he gave the faintest smile. And looked right at her again. Asterisk the talk after the storm. The match had ended, but the tension in the air remained thick. No one dared challenge Adam again that day. Even the most arrogant warriors stood back, whispering among themselves. The human had fought without a weapon and won twice. Easily, Laia left her seat in the high stands. Her heart told her to do something she had never done before. Approach a fighter, not as a leader's daughter, not as a noble. Just as herself. Adam was sitting by a water barrel, rinsing the dust off his arms. When he saw her coming, he stood up. He didn't bow. He didn't salute. He simply looked at her, calm and still. You fight like no one I've ever seen, Laia said softly. And you watch like no one else here, Adam replied, his voice steady but kind. That made her smile. She wasn't used to such plain, honest words. Most fighters tried to impress her. Most people tried to win her favor. Adam just stood there like he didn't care whether she approved or not, and that made her curious. Why do you fight with no weapons? She asked. Adam looked out toward the arena. Weapons can break. They can be taken. But this, he raised his hands. This is always with me. It reminds me who I am. And who are you? Laia asked, stepping closer. A human, he said. But more than that, I'm someone who doesn't fight for glory. I fight to survive and to protect. His words struck her deeply. On her world, battle was about pride, about honor. But here stood a man who made it feel like something more. I've watched warriors my whole life, Leah said. But I've never seen one like you. Adam smiled gently. That's because I'm not trying to be one. I just am. They stood in silence for a moment. The wind swept through the open arena. Somewhere, a horn blew, calling the next match. But Laia didn't move. She looked up at him again and whispered, barely loud enough to hear, I meant what I said. Adam tilted his head. What did you say? That I wish you were mine. Adam's eyes didn't show surprise, only warmth. He didn't answer right away. He just looked at her like he was trying to understand something much deeper than the words. You don't know me, he said softly. I want to, Laia replied. He gave a slow nod. Then walk with me, but not as a princess, just as Laia. She nodded, and not as a champion, just as Adam. The two walked side by side, leaving behind the arena, the fights, the blood, the noise. And as they disappeared down a quiet path, many eyes followed them, some with envy, others with fear, because something had changed in that arena, not just in battle, but in hearts. Asterisk the walk beyond the blades. The path outside the arena led through an old stone garden, once used for meditation by warrior monks. Now it was quiet, forgotten by most. Adam and Laia walked slowly between broken statues and wild vines, neither saying much at first. Laia glanced at Adam. You don't talk like the others. Adam smiled faintly. That's because I don't need to prove anything. She stopped beside a crumbling pillar. Then why did you come here? Why enter the Graal arena, if not for honor or glory? Adam sat on a flat rock. To understand what the galaxy fears, and to show them they're wrong about us. Us? She asked. Humans, he said. They think we're weak, that we don't belong in their warrior ranks. But humans, we grow in pain. We adapt. That's what makes us dangerous. Laia sat beside him. I've seen your kind before. Traders, scientists, diplomats. But you're different. Adam nodded. I wasn't sent by command. I came on my own. I heard stories of the Graal, challenges, and wanted to see if a human could survive them. You didn't just survive, she said quietly. You made every warrior here question themselves. He looked at her. And you? What did you see? She met his gaze. I saw someone I couldn't stop thinking about. Someone who fights without hate and moves like he was never meant to be caged. Adam looked down at the cloth still wrapped around his knuckles. I've lived most of my life alone. I never stayed in one place. No one ever asked me to. Well, Leia said, placing her hand gently over his, I'm asking. Adam didn't pull away. He didn't speak either. Instead, he just looked at her hand resting over his and closed his fingers around hers. Silence fell again. Not awkward, just peaceful. But it didn't last. Heavy footsteps approached. A squad of armored Grawl warriors came into view, led by Leia's older brother, Torvin. His face was tight with anger. There you are, Torvin growled. What are you doing walking with an outsider? Leia stood up. I chose to walk with him. No one forced me. You shame our house, Torvin snapped. Father already heard. What you said. Half the arena talks about it. Adam rose slowly, not in fear, but with caution. Torvin stepped forward. You're not welcome here anymore, human. Leave now, or I'll make you leave. Adam didn't move. If she asks me to go, I'll go. But not for you. Leia stood between them. Stop it, both of you. This isn't about power or pride anymore. But Torvin drew his blade, and the piece shattered. The blade and the Hardervin's blade gleamed under the fading sun, its edge catching the red light as he pointed it toward Adam. Grawl warriors behind him stood ready, but they did not move yet. They were waiting to see if Adam would run. Or fight. Adam did neither. I didn't come here to steal anything, he said calmly. Not your sister, not your honor, not your pride. Torvin's eyes narrowed. You think this is about jealousy? About pride? She's our future leader. And you're just a wandering human with nothing. Adam nodded once. You're right. I don't come from a throne. I don't have a flag behind me. But I know what loyalty looks like. And I know what courage means. He looked toward Leia. And I've seen more of both in her than in most kings. Leia stepped forward, standing between the two men again. I choose him, she said, loud and clear. Not because he's strong, but because he listens. Because when I speak, he hears me not just with his ears, but with his soul. Torvin gritted his teeth. You would throw away your place for this outsider? No, she said. I would make a new place. With him. Torvin's rage finally boiled over. With a roar, he lunged forward. Adam didn't run. He didn't even strike first. He waited. When Torvin's blade slashed toward him, Adam stepped just outside its arc, grabbed his arm, and twisted his wrist sharply. The sword clanged to the ground. In one motion, Adam used Torvin's own momentum to slam him to the earth, pinning him with a knee to his back. The fight was over in seconds. The other warriors didn't move. None dared challenge what they'd just seen. The human had disarmed the chief's son. Without drawing a weapon, Adam stood and stepped back. I won't hurt him, he said. But I won't let him hurt her either. Leia helped her brother to his feet. Torvin glared at her, but said nothing. His pride was bruised, but somewhere in his eyes there was a flicker of something else, understanding, perhaps. Or fear. Go home, Leia told him gently. Tell father I'll speak to him soon. Torvin nodded slowly, then left with the others. Now alone again, Leia turned to Adam. Her heart was pounding. You didn't have to fight him. Adam nodded. But I had to protect what matters. Leia stepped closer, her voice soft. And what matters to you? Adam met her eyes. You. For the first time, the warrior daughter smiled not with strength, but with love. Asterisk the choice that changed everything that night. The entire city of stone burned with whispers. A human had defeated Torvin without weapons. And worse, in the eyes of the council, The war leader's own daughter had stood by the outsider's side. For the Grawl, it wasn't just dishonor. It was rebellion. Laia and Adam walked through the quiet gardens outside the warrior halls. The stars above Korma 7 shone brighter than usual, as if the skies themselves were watching. "Your people won't forget what happened today," Adam said. "Some might not forgive it." Laia nodded. "I know, but I'm tired of living by rules, written by fear and pride. I've followed every path my family laid out. Now, for once, I want to follow my heart." Adam looked at her, unsure. "Even if that path leads away from home?" Leia looked into his eyes. "If home doesn't welcome truth and love, then maybe it's time I build a new one." Before either could say more, footsteps echoed behind them. It was the war leader himself, Laia's father. His silver armor glowed under the moons. Dozens of council members stood behind him. Torvin, too, was there, a dark bruise under one eye, but standing tall. "You've caused enough chaos for one day," the war leader said, voice hard. "This planet has traditions, laws. You disgrace them, Laia." Laia stood straight. "I follow no law that tells me who I can care for." Adam stayed silent, his stance relaxed but alert. The war leader pointed to Adam. "He may leave now, alive if he chooses, or face the ancient law of challenge." Adam raised an eyebrow. "You want another fight?" "No," the war leader said. "I want truth, the old way, one last challenge. If you survive, you stay. You take her hand, and no one speaks against it again." Adam looked at Laia, then nodded. "I accept." Leia grabbed his arm. "Adam, you don't have to. No," he said gently. "But I choose to?" The next morning, the sun rose over a silent arena. Warriors filled the stands. The sand was cleaned. The blood of yesterday swept away. At the center stood Adam, alone, calm. The challenger emerged an old warrior in ceremonial armor, massive and scarred, once known as the Graal's most brutal champion. It was not a fair match, but Adam didn't flinch. Laia sat in the high seats, breath tight in her chest. She had whispered once, "I wish you were mine." Now, the entire world watched to see if her wish would survive. Asterisk the last blow and the first. Promised the arena fell into total silence as the old warrior stepped forward. His name was Darnok, once called the Wall, for how no enemy had ever passed him. Even at his age, his presence was powerful, each step like thunder across the stone floor. Adam stood barefoot, his hands wrapped in the same old cloth. No sword, no armor, just himself. Laia sat high above, her fists clenched in her lap. Her heart beat like drums inside her chest. Darnak stopped a few paces from Adam and looked him up and down. "You are brave, human," he said in a low voice. "But this arena does not forgive fools." Adam gave a small nod. "Then I guess I'll have to survive it as a fool." The crowd didn't laugh. The horn blew. Darnak moved like a storm. He charged forward, striking down with a force that cracked the sand underfoot. Adam dodged barely. Each blow from the giant warrior came fast and deadly. The human didn't attack yet. He observed, felt the rhythm, watched the shoulders, counted breaths. Then, finally, Adam struck. A low sweep knocked Darnak slightly off balance. A sharp jab to the ribs, a pivot, and a palm to the chest. The crowd gasped. Darnak stumbled back, but the old warrior smiled. "Ah, there is a fire in you." He roared and came again, faster this time, forcing Adam to backstep, block, duck. A heavy hand brushed his shoulder, knocking him down. But Adam rolled, came back up, and struck again, this time under the arm. Darnak slowed. The two circled, their breathing heavy. Time passed, but no one dared speak. Even the wind seemed to stop. Then, with one last cry, Darnak lunged. But Adam met him in the middle with a low spin and drove his elbow into the back of Darnak's knee. The warrior dropped. Adam flipped over him, placed his hand on the back of his neck, and gently pushed him face down to the ground. Silence. Then the old warrior tapped the stone once. The signal of surrender. The crowd erupted. Leah stood to her feet. Her breath escaped in a rush of emotion she didn't know she was holding. Adam stepped back, panting but calm. The war leader stood, slowly raising a hand. The crowd went silent again. He has earned it, the leader said. The law has spoken. The outsider stays. He turned to Leia. Your path is now yours to walk. Leia didn't wait. She ran down the steps, crossed the arena floor, and stopped in front of Adam. Dust clung to his skin. His chest rose and fell, but his eyes only looked at her. You came here with nothing, she whispered, her voice shaking. And now you have my heart. Adam smiled softly. I didn't fight to win you. I fought because you believed in me. She reached out and took his hand. Then let's walk forward together. And as the arena behind them quieted, and the stars above shone brighter than ever, a new chapter began, not just for Leia and Adam, but for two worlds no longer strangers.